This is Herman. He's a CEO at Sony and a member of the board of directors at Bungie. And in a recent interview, he was given the privilege to talk about Marathon and the future of Marathon in regards to Sony's development and his excitement level. And Herman did not disappoint.
We're also very excited about Marathon's anticipated launch in this fiscal year.
No, you're not. No, you're not excited about that. Also, they did confirm just now, I guess, that it's coming out this fiscal year, so the game plan continues. September release for Marathon.
Great. Speaking of Marathon, what have you learned from your foray into live game services, including Concord?
Okay, initiating the conversation about Marathon and immediately creating a segue of talking about Concord is diabolical. I don't know who this interviewer is, but I like this guy, all right? He immediately starts asking the Sony CEO about Marathon and says, what have you learned about your failures, like from Concord, for example? Like basically insinuating Concord 2.0.
And how does this relate to Marathon and the recent alpha test?
Yeah. So live service, we really see that as a great opportunity for us. But with this great opportunity are some unique challenges associated. So we
And you definitely had some challenges with Concord and with the Marathon alpha test, that's for sure.
talked about it, some early success, as with Helldivers 2. We've also faced some challenges, as with the release of Concord.
A challenge is an interesting way to put it. I mean, a $400 million loss, I think that's a disaster more than anything. That's a little worse than a challenge, but
I think that some really good work actually went into that title, some really big effort. But ultimately, that title entered into a hyper-competitive segment of the market.
And it had a paywall when there were other games that were significantly better and further developed and free to play.
think it was insufficiently differentiated to be able to resonate with players.
Marathon does actually differentiate itself from the other games. However, it does also have that paywall. So it's an interesting mixture of like lessons learned, I guess, from Concord, if that is the case that he's trying to make.
And so we have reviewed our processes in the light of this to deeply understand how and why that title failed to meet expectations, and to ensure that we're not
I'll tell you why Concord failed, all right? This is why Concord failed.
going to make the same mistakes again. As I said earlier, we've introduced much more rigorous processes for validating, for revalidating our creative, our commercial, our development assumptions and hypotheses, and we now do that on a much more ongoing basis. And that's the plan that will ensure that we're investing in the right opportunities at the right time, all while maintaining much more predictable timelines. For Marathon, it's our goal to release a very bold, very innovative and deeply engaging title. It's going to be the first new Bungie title in over a decade. So we're really excited for that release. We're monitoring, we're going through the test cycles, we're monitoring the closed alpha cycle that the team has just gone through. We're taking all the lessons learned, we're using the capabilities that we've built in analytics and user testing to understand how audiences are engaging with the title. And
All right, so I wonder what they've learned so far. Obviously, the charts have not been good. The general feedback is not good. I mean, you could just go do a Google search right now, what do gamers think of Marathon the game, and see what search results pop up.
some of that feedback, frankly, has been varied, but it's
Varied is funny. Varied is, I mean, I know he's the Sony CEO, so you can't be like, yeah, the feedback's been terrible. We're absolutely cooked, my guy. Like, he's not going to drop that line, but like, varied is, an interesting response.
super useful. That's why you do these testing. And the constant testing and the constant revalidation of assumptions that we just talked about, to me, is just so valuable to iterate and to constantly improve the title. So when launch comes, we're going to give the title the optimal chance of success. And this cycle of test, of iterate, test again, that is such a key component of the live service success, both leading up to launch, but also throughout the life of the game. And we're committed to continuing to leverage our learnings to maximize engagement and player satisfaction throughout the life cycle of the title.
Great. What is your philosophy around creating IP? Is it a
Oh no. I know he didn't mean it like this, but the first thing that came to my mind, this guy asked a question about Marathon, and instantly creates a segue with Concord, and then he ends the conversation about Marathon about what is your philosophy about creating IP, you know? Obviously, there's a bunch of stolen IP when it came to Marathon. Like I know he didn't mean that, but that's exactly where my mind went immediately. And not to roast Herman too much here, but you know, obviously it's a difficult position to be put in where you have to speak on the current state of Marathon, which has been getting absolutely roasted and flamed online ever since they launched the alpha and then the art scandal and everything, right? So it's obviously a tough position to be put in, and we're slowly seeing Sony and Bungie work their way back in. They're kind of crawling out of the cave and trying to experiment with like speaking about the game just a little bit. But obviously, you know, after all of the art theft stuff, you know, they went into hiding completely and they've decided not talk and say anything after the live stream, especially that disastrous live stream with all the audio issues and everything else that went on with that. After that, they've just been in a cave hiding, and we're slowly starting to get them to see what they can do as they test the waters and see what happens when the topic of Marathon gets brought up. But let me know what you think about this situation down in the comment section below, and make sure to click on the screen here to watch another video from the channel. Smash the like button for me if you made it this far into the video, subscribe with notifications on, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.